little chilly today. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Oh, welcome to Mornings with Mobile, where authenticity lives and thrives to create a space of growth, healing, and joy. I am your host, Andrea Lawful Sanders, and each day we will cover the topics that are informative and engaging while learning from each other. Good morning to each and every one of you. It is Tuesday. October 21st, 2025, and we are continuing to be here despite what it looks like outside and around us. It is 45 degrees and clear. This would be the best day of the week, weather-wise, and so make sure that you go out and enjoy taking the sun as much as you can. I'm going to start with my morning motivation. I don't have a guest today, but I do have a listening audience member who wants to come on and talk about what her experience has been like from being furloughed, let go from her job, and how she's been managing up to now. Let me start here with the morning motivation, though. We often let people dictate to and judge us based on our past mistakes and craziness. Do you realize yet that all of those things mixed with the good turned you into the person that you are today? Real living isn't designed for perfect people. And the minute we stop looking down on folks and worry about our own patchwork journey, the better off we will be. Mistakes are lessons in disguise if we choose to see and learn from them. Grab your life with everything you have within and live. Live every day like it is your last without apologies, because sorry, let me read this again. Live like every day is your last without apologies, because when you come from a place of authenticity, everything will eventually work itself out. Good morning. I had a project to work on about an hour and 15 minutes from my home yesterday. So right after I got out the gym, I, took off and was out working on this project until about 5 o'clock yesterday evening. And I stopped in a space to grab lunch. Um, I had Denise with me. She's always with me on some level or another. I stopped at a place to grab lunch, and where we were, there were so few people of color that, but that's our lives. It happens all the time. So, we're moving along. We stopped in one place. The people looked us up and down, and I looked them up and down, and she was cracking up like, you have no fear. None. Not just zero. So anyway, we stopped at this one place for lunch after running ourselves ragged. And as we were leaving, we sat there for about 45 minutes. As we were leaving, Denise says, the cashier, who was black, just looked sad, and she waved to her. I didn't see her because I'm always focused. And she said, Andrea, I feel like she has seen so few of us that she was just so happy to see us in her space for a little while. And then I began to think of life, just life in general, and how I got from, for as long as I can remember myself, to where I am today, and the mistakes that I've made along the way, and the journey, and feeling, always feeling like I had grace. Always feeling like I had grace. And then I thought about what's been going on in social media for the last several years. Artificial intelligence began taking over many years ago, many years ago, when you said, oh, I can use my eyes to open my phone. Oh, I can use my voice to talk to my phone. They were gathering all that data, your voices, your likeness, all of it, right? And using the information that it got to build on it. And so now every time we go online, AI answers us before anything else. I'm also noticing that we have very little. Someone said to me, they can't detect AI from the real thing, and so they've been posting things that then they keep hearing it's AI. There are a lot of things popping up now on social media talking about movie stars, et cetera, et cetera. And the minute you look at them, they're talking about Bill Cosby, this one, that one. Click off Don't share them. Don't even read them. You can immediately tell. It's, you can tell. You go on Google and you say, did such and such happen at such and such thing? The latest thing I saw was Michael Strahan from Good Morning America, that he has cancer. He does not have cancer, but we keep sharing these things because we don't know. Instead of Googling and saying, is this a thing? We don't. And then I saw something that Joy reposted, that the federal government took a video of Black children and turned it into, oh, they're threatening ICE and they're going after them and they're sending cops to arrest them, et cetera, et cetera. And Joyanne Reed said this was a video, but it was of this child who was talking about something completely different. They changed his voice, changed the music, changed everything. I have said to you, and this is why I keep saying, show grace. I have said to all of you, it has gotten to the point now where you can't tell real from not real, and real from fiction. And when you see things posted, someone could take my face and use my voice and post it as something that I did that I absolutely never did. So you've got to either know people or really start to Google. We're so quick to judge. We're so quick to, oh my God, I can't believe he did that. Oh my God, I can't believe she did that. Find the facts. And even when you find the facts, show grace. Show grace. I have seen things in the last week and a half of people that I know that are in the news, just blowing up in the news. Two things happen. I didn't post it. And I didn't talk about it with anybody, in social media spaces. Folks were calling me because they knew I knew these people. But you have to practice. Just practice a modicum of grace. Practice trying to understand, seeking first to understand without being understood. The universe does not need our help to fix anything. And for as long as all of you have been alive, all of you, and by the way, I have not spoken to them. I've seen all the stuff unfolding. I figured the way that I could be kind was to just not repost the stuff, right? And it's not the first time I've done it. I've seen the things. Some of the people, will call me, or I'll call them and I'll say, did you see this in the news? Da, 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 da. How can I support and help you? Y'all have to stop being fair weather friends and stop pretending like you have never, ever made a mistake in your life. Because it speaks to who we are as people. When we literally, every time we see somebody in the news, every time we see somebody being torn down, every time we see these things, we automatically believe that it is true. So here now, Black boys and men are on the chopping block because they're using them as fodder to go after them. Literally. That American citizens right now are being arrested along with their children and locked up. And the experiences is nothing to sneeze at. And so all of a sudden we realize that this really was just not about one group or two groups of people. And we began talking about this. And when we first started having the discussion, even my dearest friend was like, well, I have my real ID. Nobody wants to be grabbed by ICE. They don't just let you go. They snatch you up and you're in crazy conditions for hours and days. And when you come out of that, you will never be the same. So imagine the people that don't come out of that. How are we sitting and figuring out how to support one another as we move ahead in what looks untenable right now? I got home and I saw my news thing pop up that the east wing of the White House was being torn down to put up a ballroom. And you know what I did? I turned off my phone and said, put me on Do Not Disturb. I saw no more news for the rest of the night. Because the White House is the people's house. There's so much flundering and flustering around us that we can't seem to figure out ourselves. And instead of finding our space of grace and peace, we sit up and we say, well, we entertain ourselves at the demise of others. That's what we do. That is what we do. I am to cover the news. And cover the news, I will. But there's just sometimes you gotta cover the news in a way that you're not trying to tear people down. Cover the news in a way that you're figuring out, and it's not my responsibility to figure it out, but cover it in a way so that people can think through it versus go, oh my God, I can't believe. We've got to get better, because if we don't figure out who our tribes are, And if people look at you and see that all you do is rip people apart, when it's your turn, and believe me, if you are a person of color, whether you're a United States citizen or not, your time is coming. Your time is coming. And for some inexplicable reason, Philadelphia has not been on the chopping block yet. We're not, there's no talk about coming to Philadelphia yet. Notice I say yet, because if you think they're not coming, you have another thought coming with you. The governor of Chicago is telling people, stay in your house and do not answer your door. Because you answer your door with the bravado that you're a United States citizen and you're being snatched out. They're snatching and asking questions later. And so while we're watching all of this unfold around the country in different states, Portland just got the thing for them to be sent in. Little by little, all of them are getting the hit. Watch what's going on in those states. Know how to protect yourselves when they finally get to you. Okay? Okay. Just a lot. Speaking of the East Wing of the White House, let me, Lord have mercy. Phone lines open 215-400-0146. There's that. And, you can talk to me here at 7:30. I am going to have Alexandra on. And, Alexandra, if you're watching now, you can come on at around 7:15 since I don't have a guest today. And we can talk about this. The Associated Press wrote this. The White House starts demolishing parts of the East Wing to build Trump's ballroom. And you literally see parts of the White House just torn down. Just oh God. This was written at 8:37 p.m. last night. The White House on Monday started tearing down part of the East Wing, the traditional base of operations for the First Lady, to build President Donald Trump's $250 million ballroom, despite lacking approval for construction from the federal agency that oversees such projects. Dramatic photos of the demolition work showed construction equipment tearing into the East Wing facade and windows and other buildings' parts in tatters on the ground. Some reporters watched from a part near the Treasury Department, which is next to the East Wing. Trump announced the start of a construction in a social media post and referenced the work while hosting 2025 college baseball champs Louisiana State University and LSU Shreveport in the East Room. He noted the work was happening right behind us. Whew, Lord have mercy. Oh my God, it's a lot. The White House has moved ahead with the massive construction project, despite not yet having sign-off from the National Capital Planning Commission, which approves construction work and major renovations to government buildings in the Washington area. Its chairman, Will Scharf, who is also the White House staff secretary and one of Trump's top aides, said the commission's September meeting that agency does not have jurisdiction over demolition or site preparation work for buildings on federal property. What we deal with is essentially construction, vertical build, Scharf said last month. It is unclear whether the White House had submitted the ballroom plans for the agency review and approval. The White House did not respond to a request for comment, and the commission's office are closed because of the government shutdown. There's that. In other news, written by the Associated Press, which was updated an hour ago, Japan's parliament elected ultra-conservative Sanae Takaichi as the country's first female prime minister Tuesday, a day after her struggling party struck a coalition deal with a new partner expected to pull her governing bloc further to the right. Are you noticing that she's Japan's first female prime minister? But please, while we are celebrating that she's a woman, that she's also ultra-conservative, there is a movement across the globe, and we're not really sure what this is. Takaichi replaces Shigeru Ishiba, ending a 3-month political vacuum and wrangling since the Liberal Democratic Party's disastrous election loss in July. Ishiba, who lasted only 1 year as prime minister, resigned with his cabinet earlier in the day, paving the way for his successor. Takaichi won 237 votes, for more than a majority, compared to 149 won by Noda, head of the largest opposition party, the Constitutional Democratic Party of Japan, in the lower house, which elects the prime minister. Even though her coalition was two seats short of a majority, Takaichi received enough votes to win the first round. She'll likely receive votes from lawmakers in fringe minority parties from whom she sought cooperation. As the results were announced, Takaichi stood up and bowed deeply. She is 64, appointed former Defense Minister Minoru Kihara as Chief Cabinet Secretary. She appointed her leadership rivals within the party to her government, along with other veteran lawmakers who previously served as both trade and foreign ministers. Oh, Lord. So we have to watch what's going on in Japan now. Despite her earlier pledge to drastically increase the number of women in the cabinet, she appointed only 3, all of them supporters in the party leadership vote. Former Regional Revitalization Minister Satsuki Katayama, Katayama as Finance Minister, Kimi Onada as Economy Security Minister, and Midori Matsuhima as the Prime Minister's aide. Child, pay attention. Just pay attention. Lots going on out here. I promise you. A lot is happening out here. So again, we have to read. Open up and read. Let me open up the chat here and see what you guys are talking about. Good morning. Good morning to all of you. I see you. Good morning, Gwynetta. Good morning, Alexandra. Hey, Monica. Hi, Alexandra. She said the heat is still not being turned on. I have it on down here, child. I don't even know. Hi, Beatrice. Hi, Dennis. I see you all. And Marguerite. Good morning. Danette. I see you. Good morning, my darlings. Good morning. Shaquilla. Laura says, I saw that post. A young man said he was speaking to Iran, not the government. It was a disgrace. But please remember, once you saw that post, that means there were millions of people who saw it and said, the black men in the country are turning against ICE and we have to go get them. The government is warning that they're coming for them. And it was not true. It was all AI. Oh my God. Please watch your families. Please, please, please. Let me see what else is happening here. It's a lot happening here. Y'all are talking. Alexandra says, also the latest is that LeBron James' son and Kobe Bryant's daughter are dating. They're not. DHS removed 2 participants out of that video and say it's real on the official website. See what I'm saying? Again, you have to pay it. Please don't just sit here and say because it's on social media, it is real. A good majority of what we're looking at now is fake, y'all. So if you are reading posts that are not people that you know, take it with less than a grain of salt and move on and don't share it. Do not share it, please. Oh my God, just too much. I too, right, and now he's getting threats and putting him in danger, right? Because Pambandi said, black men are out here and use that video, and now this poor young man is getting threats. It's a lot. It's a lot. She says Roland Martin spoke of it in depth on his show last night. Good morning, Cheryl. Oh my God. Queen Najwa says they are in Bucks County, which is very close. Jesus. Pray for that young brother and pray that the knowledge gets out that that video was AI and fake before, it becomes a thing. Before it becomes a thing. Oh God. Myra says peace and good morning, Myra. How are you, my darling? Good morning, Cheryl. Hope you're doing well. Good morning, Roz, Jazinia. Good morning. I see all of you here. I see you. Atria, you said the young man made a post about it. What did he say? I need to know. Good morning, butterfly. So I want you to know in the rest of our house, the air is on. My husband is like, what is wrong with you? I'm hot. I'm just hot. In my Zen room, the heat is on. So good morning. Good morning. I see you. Tria, tell me a little bit about, you said the young man made a post about it. I want to know what you're talking about. Expound on it for me, please. Let me go in here. I want to talk about the major Amazon outage that left us all, like my website that I'm paying $500 for a year. That website, the platform that I use to push up my information, can't do the things that it would normally do. I can broadcast live, but then all the other pieces that I would do for editing is down. uh, Elizabeth Warren, Senator Elizabeth Warren says it is dangerous that one person has that much power over so many platforms. And until that outage happened, no one knew. If you didn't know, you didn't know, right? Um, Websites and services across the United States and around the world were struggling to recover Monday after a problem at Amazon Web Services, otherwise known as AWS, has left leading games, publishers, streaming platforms, and other apps unusable to millions of people. The cloud hosting the service that underpins much of the web and everyday online tools went offline after 3 a.m. because of a problem with one of its core database products, the company said. Problems have persisted through Monday morning, according to the company. The outage has affected users of sites ranging from Snapchat to the McDonald's app and Amazon's Ring doorbell cameras to gaming platforms Roblox and Fortnite. It underlines the fragility of companies, including financial services, that use cloud based servers to host their data, and how suddenly businesses across the globe can be affected by an unplanned outage. Amazon was asked was if this was a hack. They claim that it's not. But as we can see, that's been happening quite a bit too, across platforms, even at water plants, electric grids, all the things. And so pay attention, please, again, to everything. One of the things I have suggested to all of you, and I don't know if any of you heard me say this or if you forgot, start using a notebook, pen and paper, and start writing down all the essential phone numbers of people that you know. Write down their addresses, figure out how to get to one or two or three places without having to use GPS. All of those things are going to make a difference. We're going to have to go back to basics in some ways, right? Make sure you have candles, make sure you have lamps, make sure you have enough drinking water in your homes. I can't say it enough. And I know you all, we're living our best lives. I get it. I absolutely get it, but we have to figure out a way. Which, by the way, thank you to John Bowser, called me, actually sent me a message on Saturday night and said, you wore a dress 2 days ago. I literally want to photograph it. Just come. I'm not charging you, just come. And so I went, and it gave me a couple of hours of a respite where I didn't have to think about the news, where I didn't have to think about anything else. And then the joy of seeing what came out of his lens. So I'm grateful to him. Thank you, my brother. Literally, he was testing the light in his cameras and was trying to help another photographer use light, natural light, to take photographs. And I was his muse. So I'm grateful for that, right? So everything doesn't have to cost money. It just costs some time, a little bit of laughter, and some joy, right? So again, I'm not telling you not to enjoy your lives, but my God, it's so much going on out here. Oh, wow. My husband said that he couldn't even do grading online. Okay. All right. Yes, 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 yes. Okay. So there's that. In local news, a man was sentenced to up to 25 years for buying guns later used in Philadelphia shootings. A Delaware County man who admitted to illegally purchasing guns later used in violent crimes in Philadelphia has been sentenced to a lengthy prison term, the Bucks County District Attorney's Office announced on Monday. Prosecutors said Zahir acted as a straw purchaser, buying firearms for individuals who were legally prohibited from owning guns. The investigation revealed that Zahir bought 14 firearms between August 2018 and June 2023 from stores in Bucks, Delaware, Lancaster, Montgomery, and Philadelphia counties. Those purchases included 6 purchases from Auger Precision Firearms in Croydon and 1 from Bunker Gun Shop 2 in Chalfont, according to the release. So there was that. A baby girl was found alone, abandoned on the train platform in the middle of New York City on Monday morning. Police said the baby was discovered before 10 a.m. on the southbound platform of the 34th Street Penn Station stop of the 123 line. The baby was conscious and alert, police said, but was taken to Bellevue Hospital to be evaluated. There were no service delays reported at the station around the time of the incident. The police investigation is ongoing. The state of New York has a safe haven law, or the Abandoned Infant Protection Act, where you as a parent can abandon a newborn baby up to 30 days of age anonymously and without fear of prosecution if the baby is abandoned in a safe manner. In the case of the law, the parent must abandon the baby in a safe location, such as a hospital, staffed police station, or staffed fire station, provided they also notify an appropriate person, according to the Office of Children and Family Services. And if they don't have an appropriate person to notify, I don't, I'm glad that baby is okay, and I'm glad that person was not desperate enough to do something different. Oh, boy. Mm-mm-mm. President Donald Trump announced on Sunday, I'm sorry, that article about the baby, I want to give credit, was written by NBCPhiladelphia.com. President Donald Trump announced on Sunday he would end all U.S. payments and subsidies to Colombia, marking a dramatic escalation in his back and forth with the country's president, Gustavo Petro. Trump said in a post to social media that Petro does nothing to stop the production of drugs in his country. I want you to pay attention to the key words that are being used: gangs, drugs, violent people, to create the whatever it is that they're planning to do in these spaces. Despite large scale payments and subsidies from USA that are nothing more than a long-term ripoff to America, he says, as of today, those payments and any other form of payment or subsidies will no longer be made to Colombia, the president said in all caps. Whew. Oh my God. Oh God. The Cheltenham High School football team season has been canceled following hazing allegations, the Cheltenham School District wrote in a letter to the school community on Sunday. The school district said it needed to cancel the rest of the football season in an effort to deepen the multi-agency investigation into the alleged hazing. Superintendent Dr. Brian Scriven noted in the letter, it comes just days after the Cheltenham School District said it needed to cancel the rest of the football season. I'm sorry. Uh, it comes just days after the Cheltenham School District temporarily suspended the high school football team season due to the allegations. As a parent, educator, and former coach and student athlete, I'm troubled by this matter on numerous levels, the superintendent wrote, in part condemning the hazing and any type of abuse. This decision is one that was not made lightly. This was CBSNews.com. Let me see what's going on here. Okay. Then there is former sheriff's deputy stands trial in fatal shooting of Sonia Massey. Jury selection has begun in the murder trial of an Illinois sheriff's deputy charged with killing Sonia Massey, a Black woman shot in her home last year after calling police for help. Sean Grayson, 31, responding to a call about a suspected prowler, fired on the 36-year-old Massey in her Springfield home early on July 6, 2024, after confronting her about how she was handling a pot of hot water. Yes, I remember this. Grayson had ordered removed from her stove. Security was uncharacteristically tight in Peoria, where the trial has been moved. Police tactical team was deployed around the downtown courthouse, and snipers were seen on rooftops surrounding the perimeter. This was written on 6abcnews.com. Oh boy. Lord have mercy. Let me check these comments before I move along. Hi, Taryn. Good morning, my darling. Oh, so Tria said the young man whose video was used by the Justice Department He was explaining that it was fake, his death threats, and showed the two videos side by side. So he let people know that this was not him, and I'm glad. Yeah, thank you, Cheryl. Thank you so much. Please start writing. Marguerite says my offspring uses VPN and wasn't affected. Okay. Laura says one of my major insurance companies was still down at 3 p.m. yesterday. I'm hoping they are up and running today. It affected their phone lines and website. Yes. My one sister tried to call me about 15 times. Her phones just would not work. Um, Ask says a paper appointment book is good. I had to replace my phone and it really helped. I lost contacts, etc. Now writing all contacts on papers. Yes. The other thing is make a print a copy of your passwords periodically. Just print a copy of them. All right. Um, yeah, I know. It's just a lot. It's a lot. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Alexandra, if you are watching me, which you just responded, can you click into the link and come online so we can talk, please? We may not have to be on past 7:30 if you come on early. Let's see what else is in the news. Lord have mercy. Keon King, 21, of South Philadelphia. For those of you who are watching that are not in Philadelphia, as you may or may not be aware, that there was a young lady, 23-year-old, that had been missing for 2 weeks, and there has been a severe manhunt. For him. He turned himself in almost a week ago, last Wednesday, and her body, the remains of her body, was found in a shallow grave behind an abandoned elementary school. That's just to give you a 10-15 second update. The young man accused of killing her is Keon King, 21, of South Philadelphia, is now also facing arson, causing catastrophe, conspiracy, and tampering with evidence, among other charges in connection with the case. The Philadelphia District Attorney's Office announced during a press conference on Monday. Right now, homicide charges have not yet been filed against King. As the District Attorney's Office continues to investigate, they have to tie him to this. They have to really tie him to this. We are not done, Philadelphia District Attorney Larry Krasner said. This comes just days after human remains were found behind a vacant school in Philadelphia's Germantown. The DA's office confirmed on Monday those remains are of Scott. Scott vanished the night of October 4th, leaving her workplace and assisted living facility in Chestnut Hill. King was initially arrested and charged last week with kidnapping in Scott's case. He is also facing reinstated charges for a separate case from earlier this year that had been initially dropped when the witness did not appear in court. Those new charges come as officials say they have located a vehicle they believe is connected to the case. And that was written by 6abc.com. Kata Scott's parents say their hearts are shattered by her death. She was 23. I want you to put yourselves, if you can even imagine it, the loss of your child that young. So promising. The parents of Kata Scott said Monday they are heartbroken by the death of their 23-year-old daughter, whose body was found buried at a shattered school in East Germantown on Saturday. Our hearts are shattered, yet we are deeply grateful for the outpouring of love, support, and prayers from people across the nation and around the world, Scott's parents said in a statement read at a press update on the case. Keon King, the 21-year-old man charged with kidnapping Scott on October 4th, is now also facing arson, tampering with evidence, and related charges for allegedly burning a stolen Hyundai Accent used in the abduction, prosecutors say. I find it hard. Well, let me not say hard. My husband say don't say hard. I find it difficult and challenging to talk about Kata Scott. I watched the video of her father being stoic, talking about, how she's missing. And, they really want her back. We have not yet seen any video or pictures of her mother. And people are generally just devastated. We all are just incredibly devastated by what happened to this promising young woman who just, by all accounts, was friendly and did everything she could. People loved her. But I have to talk about something else. the people who use their death to promote themselves, to promote their platforms. I need us to be better. I do. I really do. There are ways that you can help without plastering it all over your social media pages, about telling everybody what you have done or what you're going to do. In the case of Councilmember Anthony Phillips, I understood because his office is collecting donations, for the family. And he had to post that piece. But some of you, what was the purpose? Just what was the purpose? I don't get it. I just don't get it. And so while a good majority of you had great intentions, some of you didn't. It was about promoting yourselves and what you're doing and what your offices are going to do and screaming and hollering about what should be done, et cetera, et cetera. But the mark of good leadership is one where you're consistent in the work that you do all the time, not just show up when there's a high-profile case that you have to talk about, that you want to talk about and promote yourselves. I know this is feeling like an ouch moment for some of you, but I need you to check yourselves in how you navigate through these spaces. A 23-year-old child is dead. Her parents are absolutely devastated. This is not the time for talking about, something other than. And if I see one of you showing up with a profile, with a picture of her parents, talking about how you were at her house, and show video and pictures of yourself shaking the parents' hands, I'm just going to lose it. There are some things that just does not need to be public. If you're going to do good, you can do good in secret too. Please. A politician called me yesterday and said, I've known you for a ton of years, and you are just about the only person that have not called me to ask for a grant, a loan. She said, you have asked for nothing. And she said, I'm sure you've had times when you've needed it, but you've not. You've just gone on, figured it out. And she said, I so admire you for that, because everybody else sees somebody who's able to give money, to give funding, to do all the things, and they're knocking on the doors. So, can you help me do so and so? And I'm not saying that you should not ask for help. I'm just saying, temper yourselves, y'all, please. I have a friend who has a war chest of $5 billion in the nonprofit where she's vice president. I have not asked her for a dime. And we've been friends for decades. What I've gone to her for was to send her to another friend of mine who was opening up a museum of sorts on Black history, and asked if she could fund that. I went to her for the National Cares Mentoring Movement and asked if she could fund that. But for myself personally, no. And this is the first time you all are hearing this, right? Because it happened years and years ago. Y'all, temper yourselves. Temper yourselves. If there's a genuine need, yes. But do you realize that we can figure this out amongst ourselves? Because as you can see, the Pennsylvania state has not passed the budget yet, right? So everybody that's depending on funding is now sitting off to the side trying to figure out what to do. The government is shut down at the federal level. But if we remember, there was a time when we had none of that access and we depended upon each other to do what we needed to do. If we remember, we stopped doing certain things so we could move forward and do other things, right? We stopped buying clothes and shoes and stopped eating out and doing all those things so that we could focus on the mission at hand and the things that we needed to do. I just need us to think. And so I watch folks compromise themselves over and over and over again for a grant over there and a federal loan over there. And nope. I have been quite content to live without and build, because people judge. And if you take that money and you can't show what you did with it, that's a whole nother kettle of fish, right? So how can you come together and say, I have this talent, you have that talent, this one has that talent. How can we barter with the talent so we can build revenue? Part of our issue is that we just don't trust each other. And yes, I get it. I see the things that happen around us that will create that space. But we've got to be better, y'all. We've got to be better. Please. I did not mean to go there, y'all. I did not mean to go there, but you know. Ah, Jesus. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. Oh, hi, Viola. All right, Alexandra, I see you. Good morning, David. Good morning. How are you, my brother? Good morning. Monica says, so sad to hear people are using this as an opportunity to promote themselves. That is horrible. God sees. It happens all the time, though. It happens all the time. And we just have to be better. David said, correct. We built without government money. We need to barter our talents, as you mentioned. Listen, for decades. And so now we're groveling on our bellies and, compromising ourselves and all the craziness for funding. And then we have nothing to show for that funding. The one that sits with me is Anton Moore. You see where the money is going. You see how he is developing and creating spaces. You see the results of the monies that he's getting. You see it every single day. And I wonder if there's a foo fly in here. I wonder if some of these people that are taking funding from the government and having boards and all the things with nothing to show for it, realizes that when you don't work for what you want fully, this is what we get. And so now everybody is up in arms. As you were getting the funding from the government and from this one and that one, did you save some of it, put it aside for a rainy day? Did you have a thing set aside for a rainy day for stuff like this? No. Everybody's now all up in arms about we just can't get any money, we can't get the funding, we can't get the... And then you fudge the numbers and act like you're actually doing the work and act like you actually impacted, 250 children, or you impacted this community member, or you'll come back and we've got to be better. We've got to be better. We've got to be better. Jesus. Winetta says, I saw a post that gave details of the findings of the body. True or false, it shouldn't have been on social media out of respect for the family. But I'm telling you, we are disrespectful. Disrespectful. And we need to get better. Andrea says, the limelight is intoxicating for some, addictive even. What good you do with the attention you seek is what I want to see. Absolutely. Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. And you go and you do these pictures and you photo ops and you do press conferences and you're standing in behind so-and-so and you're getting the funding to do the work. The government entities are believing you to do the work, and then you show nothing. You show nothing for all the monies that you've taken over the years. But you on vacation though. You handling it, you out there doing all the other things because you want people to see that you're living your best life. Those days are coming to a close, y'all. You just cannot. It's going to become more stringent to do this kind of work. Right? When my team writes a proposal, they make sure that when they write it, it's industry standard. It's industry. So if we're saying we need this money to do this, we've already looked up to see what the industry standards are. We're not just throwing random numbers out here to hand to you. And so when I say got to get better, I don't know, Laura. Is there a fund for CADA? I don't know, but you reach out to Councilman Phillips' office and somebody... hold on one second. Lord, the messages are coming fast and furious. Hold on. I'm going to tell you in 1 second. Get a pen so I can, because I reached out to his office yesterday to find out what is the best number. So the phone number to call Councilman Phillips' office to see if there's if there's any kind of funding for her is 215-686 215-686-3454. 215-686-3454. I'm going to put it in here so you can do it. 215-686-3454. 3454. Phillips office, right? And you call and find out if they if they're accepting fund. I think they ask for Visa gift cards. I don't think they want money floating around in the offices. Um, Visa gift cards. They want care packages, toilet, some other stuff. Just go look and ask, please. It's important. It's absolutely important. Thank you. I'm letting Alexandra in. Hi, sweetie pie, with your cute self. I like the green.
Good morning.
Looking like money out here. So you are the second person that I'm interviewing that is a listening audience member to talk about real life things that are going on. Last week we had Jennifer Rivers on and Laverne Cheeseborough. Laverne is a childcare agency, and Jennifer is a mom that pays for childcare. And that was a riveting conversation. Today we're going to talk to you as one of the hundreds of thousands of Black women who lost their jobs. Can you talk to us a little bit? So welcome, okay? Can you talk to us a little bit about how you were told that you no longer had a job without naming the organization?
Okay. Um, Good morning, everyone. My profession is as an executive assistant, C-suite level.
Stop for a second. Tell them your name. I'm just talking to you like everybody knows your name.
My name is Alexandra. The last name is Ford, but it shows up in the chat as Jackson. I always use my mom's maiden name for my social media.
Okay. So Alexandra
Um,
Ford. Meet Alexandra Ford.
and I forgot to tell our sunshine that I was going to be on with you today.
Just share it with him.
So normally my schedule is a hybrid schedule. And I'm sorry, I'm on my phone because my laptop wouldn't cooperate.
Okay.
My hybrid schedule would be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or as long as we did 3 days.
Mhm.
Well, on July 21st, I was going to go in, but nobody knew. But that morning, my body was like, you're not going anywhere. Out of nowhere, I felt sick. So I said, all right, I'll just go in Tuesday. So I logged in as my normal time at 7:30 a.m., checked emails, responded to emails, scheduled meetings, came downstairs to get some water, and came back upstairs and saw a meeting put on my calendar. And I saw the person who's the head of HR, but I didn't recognize another name. So I reached out to somebody who's a friend who works within where we worked and asked, and they're like, oh, she's with HR. And I'm like, I'll call you back. I got 10 minutes with God. So I sat and I took a prayer, took a breath, prayed on it. And as soon as I got on, you heard those words that all 300 and almost 400 plus women have heard. It has nothing to do with your job performance, but we're sorry to tell you your job has been eliminated.
Talk to me about the immediate emotions that you felt, because you and I, we have been talking here online on my show every day for the God knows how many months, and we were talking about 300 and how many thousand women had lost their jobs, and you and I were talking about this on the show about what that must feel like for them, etc. Describe to us the immediate emotions you felt. Was it shock? Was it awe? Did your hands get clammy? Did you feel like your head was about to explode? Did you feel like your chest was hurt? Tell us, give me that description about what that felt like for you.
At peace.
Shut the front door. Say more.
My job consisted of supporting a C-suite executive and several of his direct reports. And some of his direct reports, self-sufficient, some leadership skills are above and beyond. And then you had some who had none. Mm-hmm. And it became very stressful that I have to hold this person's hand. If I come to you asking for help, I'm being told I'm being too rigid. Following corporate policies. I wasn't following corporate policies. We were following policies of outside stakeholders, and I'm asking you to help me. So as soon as they told me this, I picked up my phone and I'm on camera like I'm on with you. And I'm texting someone, tell your mother to call me, a former coworker who had just retired. Mm-hmm. And I text her son who works at the company. Tell
Mhm.
her to call me. I get on email. Ladies, the other AAs, it was a pleasure working with you. Then one other person that I used to support who is now a consultant, I emailed him, hey, I'm just being let go. Here's my number. Because as soon as they hang up with you, they shut down your equipment.
Mm.
So um, when HR, the actual, what she said was, we understand that this is, I'm like, no, I'm good. Is there anything else that you need me? If I have any questions, who do I reach out to?
Mhm.
And because I say I'm at peace, this is not the first time I've been laid off. Um, it is the first time after buying a house 2 years prior.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that former coworker who I reached out to, she gave me some great advice. She said, take a deep breath, take a day, pray on it, look around your house, figure out what you need to get done.
Mhm. Mhm.
You now have access to your 401k. And because of my age, I don't get the extra 10% penalty. So it's like, okay. So I took her advice, and what I came up with was a plan. Eliminate some of my debt. I don't have a lot, but it was enough that once unemployment kicked in, it would not be enough to go here.
Ah, got it. Yes.
So I cut that down first.
Mhm.
Mind you, and let me go back, we did get a nice severance package.
Mhm.
We got 11 weeks, depending on how long you were there. So
Mhm.
I got not 11, I got 8 weeks. So that money, plus what I sat down and figured out I needed,
Mhm.
paid off my credit card debt, helped pay off a big chunk of my personal loan debt that by next week it's paid off. I left enough just to pay off through severance and whatever, but I took the big bulk.
Mhm.
Um, finished my checklist
So
with
let me
me.
ask you this. Let me stop you there.
Okay.
Um, you took your severance and you started to pay down the bills and stuff that you had that you knew your unemployment would not cover. That was smart as hell, right? But
I took out some of my 401k.
okay, okay.
I budgeted. This is how much this is going to be needed. This is how
Mhm.
much this is going to be needed.
Mhm.
Okay, around the house, this is how much I'm willing to budget for this. And then I took that chunk and then I
Mhm.
paid all those off. And then with the severance, I paid off what was left.
Mhm.
So now with unemployment, there's really no bills except for mortgage
Yeah,
and one other.
right. And when unemployment runs out in 6 months, well, the hope is that you will find something else before then. So I know you've been diligently working on that. How many other people got laid off with you that day in July?
That day I was one of 12.
You were one of 12. Since then, the company has laid off how many people?
Within the entire company, I don't know, but within my company, my entity of the company, 8 other folks were laid off last week,
Okay.
and my
Okay.
phone was blowing up.
Right. What advice did you have for them as they started to be laid off?
Um, what was funny was the day before, I was on Deed looking for myself, and I
Mm-hmm.
saw a job description that fit someone that still worked at the company. And
Mm-hmm.
I sent it to her. I said, hey, this is your job. You are a perfect fit. And the next morning, I got a text that she got laid off.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell them the same thing the other person told me. Take a breath, sit down and write what you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have access to it without an extra penalty, go for it. If you feel as though you don't need to,
Mm-hmm.
but it's going to work out.
So you had a scenario that worked for you. I often wonder, have you talked to anyone who was laid off and they didn't have a 401k? and they didn't have, you see what I'm saying? Like
Right.
a cushion. Because a lot of folks are laid off and they were living paycheck to paycheck and had no cushion.
And
And
that's
then,
the thing. We were all living paycheck to paycheck, but once you had access now.
yeah, yeah.
So you have access now to help.
Yeah.
But no, fortunately, everyone within our company took advantage
Mm-hmm.
of the 401k because it matches. They match it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So everyone took advantage of it.
Mm-hmm.
Not everyone took anything out because some would have to do the extra 10% penalty.
Right. Depending on their age.
Right.
Right. Okay. Okay.
So yeah. And you just do the diligent work. Unless I said this is not the first time I've been laid off. I learned lessons from then.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what I learned through you and with, like I said, the checklist with David, I started that everything back then when you guys were talking. So when I got laid off, I looked up and it's like, oh, I got
Oh,
food in
have
the
it. There you go.
house.
There you go.
I have food in the house. I have the other thing in the house. I have this, I have that. And then it enabled me to finish the checklist on the things that I needed. I got this done around the house. The door is fixed. This got taken care of.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, and then just keep diligently doing what you're supposed to do. You cut back on certain things. Um,
Name some of the things that you cut back on.
you don't eat out as much.
That's one.
Uh, you say no to a lot of invitations.
That's two.
You take advantage of all your senior discounts because I'm
Girl.
up here,
That's three.
movie and
Yeah.
whatever. Um, Manicures and pedicures, they were done during
Done.
the summer,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but they weren't done like some people used to every 2-3 weeks. You
Mm-hmm.
just you cut back. You buy yourself a
Mm-hmm.
foot soap tub and you do it yourself.
And a pumice stone that you rub on the back of both soles of your feet every
Exactly.
time you take a shower. Mm-hmm.
And you do that. The one thing I said, like my barber's still on speed dial. I'm sorry, I gotta keep the grooming up because I
Yes,
gotta interview.
absolutely. Mm-hmm.
But other than that, no. And then the part of it that gave me extra peace, as you know, and we talked about on your show, is when I went to see Dr. Majors a week later. And I found out, had I stayed in that job, I would
You
have
were
had a stroke
stressed. Yeah.
and didn't know it. I didn't know I was walking around with an elevated blood pressure, my kidneys, my medications were doing havoc on my body. So that gave me time to get my health in order.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, she's happy. I'm happy. We're now working on getting the weight. The doctors have changed the medications. I
Mm-hmm.
have no more inflammation and all that
Mm-hmm.
good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually have a job interview this morning.
Yes. Yes.
So it's all working out
Mm-hmm.
as planned. I look
Mm-hmm.
at it as planned. And the first thing, like I said, when they told me I was at peace. I was at peace with it.
But you were at peace because you were in a very stressful environment, work environment. Were you aware how stressful your work environment was?
Yes.
Okay. Wow.
And I
Okay.
used to pray, what direction do you want me to go? Do you want me to leave on my own or do you want me to wait for you to tell me what to do?
Mm-hmm.
And I would take a deep breath and there would be little minuscule words of encouragement that came out of nowhere when there was an executive that left. She's left me an email. She said, do not let them dim your light.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let them take your light.
Mm-hmm.
You have the patience of a saint and you have the personality. And I would hear you can do this and you can do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I got laid off and let everyone know, the first thing, if you need a letter of recommendation, I'm there.
Awesome.
And when those started coming in, I literally have four.
So here's the thing, but that you just taught everybody: thrive while you are there. So
Yeah.
do your work. Work with diligence because it's not what they do to you; it's how you respond to what they do to you. I have a moniker that says, "The worse they treat me, the more horrible they treat me, the harder I work." because it shows my work ethic. It's not about them at this point, right? When I'm not going to be here forever. And so when I leave, I can have people that say, "Oh yeah, yeah, she's got blah 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 blah. We recommend her for X, Y, and Z." Absolutely. So I'm very, very proud of you. Let me see. David says, wishing you success on your interview. Laverne says, the cutting back, seeing friends, families, and associates grinding to make it and can't support them. I have responded that I'm in a season of receiving, giving and supporting looks different now. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, 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 yes. And just because we're invited to things, you have to decide which things are most important in that moment, right? So all this going over here and going over there and seeing this one to support people. I said, listen, I can't come to your event. I either but I can donate $50. Or I can donate. You see what I'm saying? You don't have to pay the
Right.
$200 ticket, but you can say I can donate $20. So you save yourself on having makeup done, having to get dressed up, paying for parking, plus the $200 ticket. See what I'm saying?
Right. And
You know.
I have a bougie cat that has a lifestyle she's accustomed to. And that's another thing I had to take in consideration. I adopted this cat last year and I
Mm-hmm.
had that responsibility for her care.
Mm-hmm.
So she has her emergency stuff, but she stopped.
Yeah.
It just, and then, like I said, the checklist that you gave us, it's
Yeah.
all done. We're
And
all
he
ready.
gave you that checklist for the entire month of November and December. If I'm not writing another thing for another soul, y'all better
But what I
share
can
with the
say
people.
is, when everybody was like, well, what are you going to do? I went in my kitchen and was like, I don't need to do anything. I'm fine because
Yep.
unfortunately for some of the services, when you're on severance, they go by your gross. So you can't.
Mhm.
Now, the only downfall is, and I'm hoping I'll get this job today. Thank you, everyone. Is the Cobra came in.
Yes.
I can afford the vision and the dental,
Hmm.
but that medical came to $775 a month.
That sounds about right.
And I'm like, no.
So what do you? So what is? So you're hoping that this job comes through, so you
Yeah,
can. Yeah, yeah. I'm going to invite Laura to join me one day this
okay.
week to talk about the medical part of it and what is it that we might be missing, because everybody, whether you're in Medicare or Medicaid, is going to be impacted by the intense increase. Um, in the premiums for health insurance, and I strongly suspect a lot of people will not be able to pay for it.
What I can throw out there with information I know from the past with me as a Jefferson patient, Jefferson has charity care for their patients.
I did not know that.
If you do not qualify for Medicaid,
Mhm,
if you, like in my case, I went through the emergency room, they filled out
mhm,
the paperwork. I didn't qualify for Medicaid. I gave
mhm.
them the letter. They gave me charity care for the hospital side for 6 months. Once you get
Oh,
approved
wow.
for that, then you go to the physician side and you get that same uh,
Really?
charity care for the physician side for 6 months until you
Wow.
get a job. A lot of people, I don't know about the other hospitals, but I know Jefferson does it.
Yes, yeah. That's good to know. That's absolutely good to know. Um, Laverne says, I'm not laid off, but the cuts are traumatic because remember, when folks lose their jobs or, whatever is going on, it impacts every other industry. I decided I had to get my nails done a couple of times over the summer, but for the most part, my nails are not done, right? I'm choosing to put that money somewhere else. And we're tightening our belts on purpose because here's the thing, we just don't know what's coming down the pipe. We don't, and it's best to be
Mhm.
ready and aware of what's happening. And I had one son that his wife was laid off for 19 months, right? She still hasn't found a job, and we have other children in our family that are just going through things. So we have to kind of figure out how do we level set and make sure that we're all okay. If that just means that we all have to cut back on some level or another. I did minimal traveling this year on purpose, right? Again, because it all costs money.
Uh-huh.
Um, and so, what advice do you have for people now who maybe laid off and didn't have a 401k? Because not every organization offers that, right? Uh, uh, what advice do you have for folks, in terms of, is there family that they can depend? Was there family you could depend on? or you just had to fight for yourself?
What I will say from the first time, my first lesson from the first time I got laid off,
Mhm.
swallow your pride.
Best advice. Yes, yes, yes,
Swallow your
yes.
pride. There are family members who will applaud seeing you like this, but there are family members who are there to help you.
Mhm.
There are friends there to help you. There are former coworkers there to help you. One of my former coworkers, since I got laid off and let her know every morning, every morning, she has sent me a job posting. She has
Yes.
encouraged me. She has done this. And one of the job listings she sent, I didn't get a chance to apply for it because the recruiter called me 2 days later.
Mm.
So I'm still waiting on that one. This one I have today just dropped out the sky.
It didn't. Your quality of work spoke for itself, right? The way you managed yourself speaks for itself. It's always, people are always watching, always watching. You hear me, Alexandra? And
Yeah.
you know this. People are always watching. Laverne says my sister has been doing Uber and Lyft because while she's interviewing, jobs are turning her down because she's overqualified and they don't want to pay her. Yeah, these stories are. Winetta says, I'm praying for your interview that your interview works in your favor. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Well, Laverne sister, look into because someone told me, well, what happens if you don't get this job soon enough? I'm like, I've temped work before. It's how I got my foot into the company in the first place back
Yes,
in
yeah.
2015. Work is a temp. Most of these companies have their own internal temp pool.
And so
It isn't.
how do you get into the temp pool?
You can call them and you can call and ask, do you have an internal temp pool? And you submit your resume like everyone else or like at all the other temp
Mhm.
agencies. And you go through the process and they'll have you listed. Let them
Mhm.
know how many days a week you can work, what
Mhm.
position you want to work. Because that's my next thing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to wait until unemployment runs out.
Right.
I just took time off to get my health in order.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
once that was, now I'm ready.
Yes. Laverne says, thank you for that reminder. Yes. Cheryl says, my family and I are cutting back a lot. Everybody is cutting back. Everybody's cutting
Mhm.
back. When I cook for the week, right? My friend Margaret and her mother were here last week, and I love stew peas. It's a really protein rich Jamaican dish that's filled with kidney beans and coconut. She don't put coconut milk in it. I put coconut milk in it sometimes, and meat, and you just put it over a little bit of rice, or and you add your vegetables to it, and it lasts a long time because it's so good. If you have never had stew peas, y'all, call mother. I'll make a whole big pot and we'll figure it out, and you'll taste it and see why it's so good. And that's in my freezer. So yesterday, because I was out working all day, I got home. Before I left the house yesterday, I took a bag of the stew peas and I put it in the thing to defrost. Right, found some
Mhm.
brown rice, and I bought some vegetables from the farmers market where I was, and that was dinner. I chop it up, right? Wash it, chop it up, and ate it just like that, right? And so we're figuring out ways to really manage through all of this. And we're doing this purposefully because we just never know what's coming. We just never ever know. And I am learning how to cook in larger batches. So if anybody wants, if I make a batch of soup, if anybody wants soup, Marva has some soup for you, right? Learn how to share with folks around you so that everybody gets what they need.
I did that last week. I made a big pot of soup, and
Hmm.
guess who came and got the rest of
Of course he did.
it?
Of course he did.
And
Yeah.
he was just he's like, this is really good.
Yeah.
Put a little chipotle powder on there.
Mhm.
And then I'll just let them take the rest I had put in the freezer.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He used to come and sit at our kitchen table. He's gotten so busy because he's trying to build in the middle
Right.
of this craziness. But I do, yeah. J.I. says, I truly believe these moments give us the space we need to recalibrate if we can see the opportunity. Losing a job can be devastating, but as Alexandra says, you figure out what matters. But because we see, thank you for sharing that, because we see what's coming down the pike, we're really working hard to prepare ourselves, right? Not waiting for it to hit us and then and just keep living like there is no tomorrow. We're
Mhm.
really working diligently to see what can we cut, what can we eliminate, what can we do less of, because it really works. Thank you. What time is your interview today? So we can set up some good.
2:30. My
This
interview is
morning.
2:30.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I love that you say swallow your pride. Um, when my son's wife got laid off 2 weeks after she gave birth to their third child, he looked. This is mommy. He comes to me and his father, and my
mhm.
my husband, and he says, this is my budget. This is what I'm bringing in because we've lost one half of our income. This is the mortgage. This is the this. This is the that. This is what I'm going to need to make this up. I have to figure out. I said, we all looked at him and said, you have three small babies, not one. You work the job that you currently have. We will help you to find another job because he said, she was so devastated. He said, we'll help you to find another job and then we'll work through there. And then he calls me back and he says, I waited 8 years to get this Porsche that is sitting in my garage. I'm selling it. That was like a severance package for him. And he sells it. And I looked at him. He said, Mommy, it hurts like hell, but it's stupid for me to hold on to a car that could actually turn into money to help to pay the mortgage, et cetera, et cetera. That's when I knew he was a grown behind man,
Yep.
right? He sold that car and moved on, right? And so now he's they're doing better. But we all had to tighten and say, how do we help in the best way we know? And we weren't buying fancy things. We were making sure the babies ate. We were making so he was paying his bills, the mortgage, the all the other stuff. We would help with food. You know what I mean? Help with daycare, help with all the things that he's been. We pulled the babies out of daycare and bought the stuff that they needed to learn from home until they could go to preschool. See what I'm saying? Because
Mhm.
daycare was $5,000. That was something that just could, since she was home, we did that. We removed that $5,000 barrier. So again, it's swallowing your pride and stop pretending like everything is everything. And we really work through. If I go to the market and meat is on sale, I buy meat for my house and buy meat for his house, right? And I season up the stuff and drop it off. The other day he called me and said, I made a pot of oxtails that you season. He said, my whole house, and he was tearing it up. And so that's what we do, right? We support one another as we go through these things and we try to figure it out. But if we can swallow our pride, and imagine if he had said, listen, I'm going to still send the people to y'all pay for the $5,000 daycare and you got the. He did none of that. He said, this is what I'm doing over here to make life easier for all of us. This is the help that I'm going to need. He swallowed his pride. And everybody jumped in. My father jumped in. My sisters jumped in. His brother jumped in. His brother was like, brother, what do you need? I got a little extra in my paycheck. It's a whole family. It was a whole
Yes.
village of us. So now he's back on his feet, but he realizes that we're not just sitting around, everybody do for yourself, live for yourself, blah, 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 blah. And that's just one example, y'all, of what we do when a family member finds themselves in a struggle and a strife. Because we can't just sit there and say, well, you're living on your own now, go figure it out. As you can see, what's going on around this country, it's not easy and it's not going to get any better, not right now. So we're praying that you get this job interview, that you get this, if it's something that you want, pray and ask the Almighty to say, if this is meant for me, let it be, you know, and you go on in peace to do what you need to do. But I'm hoping that you are all listening to what Alexandra just talked about. I know there are many of you that are facing this on some level, right? And we've just not talked about it. I personally
Mhm.
know a bunch of Black women who have lost their jobs, emptied out their 401k, emptied out their savings because they thought they were going to get a job by now and have been without a job for a year and a half, almost 2 years. Right. And so now they're in this place of devastation. So it was Laura who was like, instead of helping them to make a car payment, tell them to sell the car at this point. Sell the car, downsize, get something used so you don't have to worry about a car payment. Like we have to think of other ways to do what we need to do to get where we need to get to.
Exactly. My last layoff years ago, I did a pivot that I said it'll make sure that I eat. I went to bartending school. I am actually a certified mixologist. So if I need, I can work private parties. I can
Good for
do
you.
at the restaurant down at the corner if need be, if they
Mm-hmm.
need somebody extra. But I
Mm-hmm.
also, like I said, the temp just to know where to pivot
Yes.
until something full time comes in.
Yes. I love that you figured out how to pivot. The bartending school and them bars are always gonna be open. Always.
And everybody's gonna have a wedding, a
Yes.
birthday party, and you're gonna need a bartender.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So, as you're listening to her, what skills do you have other than what you're doing now? Right? What skills can you develop other than what you're doing now? Donna says, Alexandra, I'm sorry you're experiencing this situation. At the same time, you are so inspirational. You're helping many people with your advice.
Oh, thank
Um,
you.
Laverne says, praying for success and blessings on your interview and overall. And Viola says, this is very interesting and important information for all. Sometimes we get so stuck in ourselves. I'm a teacher and that's all I can do. I will be a teacher. And if I can't find a job as a teacher, then I just don't know what I'm going to do. You're teaching people that you can really pivot.
And
And
the one thing, I'm sorry for interrupting. The one thing I really want to get out there is this: don't get discouraged if you're of a certain age, because everyone is looking at me like, well, you're 61. You're going
mm,
to, no, I'm going to work a little longer. I
yeah,
want to work. Don't get discouraged. Your
mm,
experience matters,
yes,
your capabilities, because out here we have young folks that don't want to stay on a job, they don't want to do a job. But your experience and how your temperament and what you bring to the table matters. And just be
mm,
your authentic. It was the advice I'm giving, the advice someone gave me yesterday because
mm,
I got a little nervous about it. And she was, be yourself, be your authentic self, let it shine through during this interview, and
mm,
you got this job. And I say
mm,
that to everyone, be your authentic self.
mm, mm. Viola says, I am 325,062 miles on my car and I have a backup. Jasenia says, best wishes on your interview today. Thank you for the information. Laverne says, I feel your peace. She says, you're so inspiring. Just want you to know. And Laura says, now that's a plan. You go, girl. Laverne says, I know that's right. I keep my certified nurse's assistant in the tuck. I'm going to orientation next week to add some extra income. Because we all have. We've done
Mhm.
it over and over and over and over again. All have. For me, I can write my tail feathers off. Damn AI. you know, there are ways that you can do this thing,
Mhm.
and really work with people. Viola says, I still have my beauty license. So you're giving people ideas, right?
Yes,
Lots of folks are doing the 9 to 5, but there were many, many years when we couldn't even get those 9 to 5 jobs. So we had to
exactly.
have a skill. Had to
We
have a
had
skill.
to have something to fall back on.
Yep, yep, yep. So I love you. Thank you so
I
much for
love
joining me in the
you.
cut this morning.
Thank you for having me.
You are so welcome, and we wish you every good thing in your interview today, and all the other things that you have coming up in the meantime. And Laura, you're up next on Thursday after the show. Okay, you're joining me this Thursday, to talk about medical insurance. What do we have to look forward to? Where are the things the pitfalls, and where can we land in the middle of all of this, particularly our seniors who are really struggling. Cheryl says, thank you so much, Alexandra. Just know we're lifting you up in prayer and believing you got the job.
Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate it, and I will keep you posted.
Yeah, we went. Well, listen, I was about to tell you, please let us know.
I will. I
Thank
will.
you, my darling. Thank you. Talk to you
Have a
soon.
great day.
You too, baby. Bye bye. Julie says, "Good luck on your interview." Yes, that was excellent. For some of you, like I'm in the sandwich generation now. I have one parent that passed away, and one that is still alive. Plus my husband's parents, they're doing well, thank God. But I think they're okay because they lean in on each other to help each other move forward, and they've always lived frugally. My husband's parents always lived frugally. Oh, Andrea says, "I love the after party." Oh, and Donette says, I keep my X-ray certification up to date. And so my father's heating and cooling system quit after 20 something years, and my sisters and I all gathered together to figure out how to support him in that, and we're working it through, right? These are the things that I'm talking about. We just don't know what's coming down the pike. My father, to his ultimate everlasting credit, has an amazing credit score. And when we talk about cash being king, good credit is a good thing too. So we're working through with him to make sure he gets what he needs, so he has some skin in the game. And of course, as his children, we're going to step in. But again, in order to do all of that, got to cut out some stuff, right? Got to cut out the extra running up and down all over the place. You got, all the things, all the things. So I love you all. What I'd love for you to do is figure out a list of things we can do to help each other. Things that have worked for you in your life and your family, so we can uplift that lift uplift that list. So maybe somebody can look at that and say, "Oh, I could do that." What are you really good at doing? What are you really good at doing? I make amazing black cakes. Oh my God. I didn't make any last year, and the year that my mother died. Last year was 2024, right? And the year that my mother died. But oh my God, those black cakes are a great income generator. Should I just choose to do it? I could teach cooking classes. What can you do? What can you do? Right? Monica says, Alexandra, you are an inspiration. Find and use other skills. Find your hustle. Sending you awesome vibes and prayers for your interview. And Donette says, I keep my X-ray certification up to date. Blay, blay, blay. Good interview. Thank you, Julie. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, y'all. I'm getting off the air. After the party is the after party. I'm done for today. So Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday after the show, we're going to have listening audience members who I've been watching and following just to see what they're talking about, to get them on the air so that they get access to talking about the things that impact them. I think that was a great idea. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Andrea, Robin, Manley, always. Love you all. Ha! Judy says, yum, black cake. Talk to you all soon. This episode of Mornings with Mova is officially over. I am Mova. I'll see you when I see you. Bye, everybody. Bye, everybody.